All right, welcome back. We are once again doing some more MLB preseason grades, preseason previews, whatever I'm calling this, whatever the editor tells us it's called. Um, and today we're talking about the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, I mentioned in my Braves video there are two really interesting divisions this year, and the two most interesting divisions for me were the NL East and the NL Central. The NL Central is full of teams that have made lots of moves, have really good players, and it just like the reason why their win-loss columns look so messy is because the teams are all going to be around, like they're going to be brawls at every fight, like not like fighting brawls, but like it's going to be a slugfest just between the two of them, like between every team in this division. Like it's going to be it'll be a great surprise to any observer see any team uh
Run away with
you
it.
know, run away with it. Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking about. I couldn't say it for some reason. Um, St. Louis Cardinals have been interesting. They went from being kind of on the outskirts of everything to just getting themselves into the wild card. Um, and they got a really interesting team here where a lot could go right. But the big thing about the Cardinals is that they look really good on paper without the stats. And the big And, like you see these big names like veterans who have been around for like Colton Wong, Matt Carpenter, Paul Goldschmidt, Paul DeYoung, Yadier Molina, Dexter Fowler, and they look like players who should be doing a lot. But then you look at their stats, it's like what's gone wrong here? What changed? And so we'll get around and start talking about it. So we'll start off with Colton Wong. He's going to be your leadoff man. Been a very solid big leader for a lot of years now since 2013. Um, and of the Cardinals, he seems to be like the most historically consistent. He doesn't, he's never he's going to be same sort of good defense, good, decent bat, and he's always going to be a player that is never going to be like a detriment to your lineup. And he's very, he's fine. He's going to be fine. He's a good leadoff man. There's not much to say besides that. Not someone you're going to be disappointed to have playing for you. Um, Second man in the lineup is the first man you will really need to see pick up the pace. Matt Carpenter, like it used to be such a threat to see him come to the plate. He used to be never necessarily a big power hitter for a lot of years. But he hits loads of doubles. Like he just hits a lot. And all of a sudden last year, all the wheels came off and he couldn't hit. Couldn't never power. Like 2018 was actually his best power season. We had 36 home runs. I'm a fairly decent Cubs fan, and in the course of 24 hours, it was a night game then a day game. He had like four home runs at Wrigley. It was just man went on tears, and, he only hits 257, but he'll slug for a lot, and he'll have a high OPS, and he's always been good like that, and his strikeouts have never been a whole lot more than his walks. Like he's always been good at walking. And the wheels kind of just came off last season. Hit only 220, 226. Slugging's down, on base percentage is way down. Double, he had two strikeouts to every walk, which is not like him. So he's got to figure a lot of stuff out this season because everyone knows what he can do when he's on, and when he's on, he's really good. So it'll be really interesting to see how he can turn around. Paul Goldschmidt, huge trade in the 2018 offseason for you guys. Definitely like a solid third man in the lineup you want there. We'll talk more about him later. Which we'll talk more about him later. I have a separate sort of segment for him. Paul DeYoung, great shortstop, good power, good four-hole hitter because he can slug for a lot. He could definitely work on it. Like the big problem for him is strikeouts, which is like saying a batter has a problem with strikeouts is like nothing new in this league. But like he has so much power in that bat, which but if he can just like if he could just put a few more things together, he could become elite. Because he only hit 230 last season, but he hit 30 home runs, drove in 78, and scored 97 runs. Like he did a lot, despite only hit 230 last season. So if he could start putting more things together there, he could be a big threat. And he's only 26 this season, so there's lots of room for improvement, a lot of time for improvement. Yadier Molina, another guy we're going to talk about more later, but he's been a veteran at the league for so long now. He is the face of this team, even if he's hitting fifth. Like everyone knows him. Everyone, you hate him if he's not on your team. You love him if he is. This guy is one of the best players of the past few years, and anyone who says he isn't is just lying. The question becomes, can he? The question is, how does he deal with aging? Because he's 37 now, and there's gonna be a lot to talk about there. But next, Dexter Fowler, another guy we're going to talk about more. You got him for a 5-year contract, and he's just done nothing with it. He was a great player for a lot of years, and then yeah,
Where
just
did he
doesn't.
play? He didn't. He wasn't here his whole career, was he?
No, no, no. He played. He was on the Cubs 2016 team. Played for the Rockies for a lot of years. A few years, 2008 to 2013. Played for the Astros for a season, then played 2 years with the Cubs, and then signed a 5-year contract for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I must recognize him from his time with the Cubs.
And Dexter Fowler is like definitely a case of like, right place, right time. He had his best season in 2016. He was an all-star that season, and then he was hit free agency. So he hit free agency as a 31-year-old all-star who had just hit 276. Never a big power bat, only 13 home runs, but did 276. Good, really great batter's eye, 393 on base percentage, and it's hit a decent amount of doubles. And so the Cardinals went out and gave him a 5-year contract. First season there, 264. Nothing crazy, really, but not bad. And then 2018 happened and he hit 180 and only played 90 games. Also, 2017 only played 118 games.
Injuries happen, man.
And 20, yeah, but like this is like, but still, those 90 games, he hit 180. And then the last season, he only hit 238. Like, it's just, there is something that's not working that needs to be figured out, which we'll talk about more later. You got Tommy Edman, who came up as a really just like great offense last season. Just supplied a bunch of offense to this team down the stretch when he needed it to claim the NL Central crown last year. And if he can have something similar, he's going to be a big thing to look out for on this team. Because watching him play reminded me, like watching him hit at least, it reminded me of a Gio Urshela or like a Luis Arias like type hitting, where he just can smack the ball everywhere. So that's interesting to look out for. Last up, Harrison Bader. This guy was profiled to be like, really great. St. Louis Cardinals fans, you talked about him like he's the next Mike Trout. He's not the next Mike Trout. And he hit 205 last season. He had 12 home runs. He doesn't walk enough. He doesn't. He just doesn't do it. He's really fast and he's an amazing fielder, but he's got to figure out his bat. Because if he could hit 264 like he did in his 2018 season, he could be a solid center fielder at the major level. But if he hits 205 the rest of the season, he's gonna be a defensive replacement for the rest of his career. Like it's just that you can't hit like that after having so much hype and being such a touted prospect for the organization. Next up on the starting rotation, this is where St. Louis' strengths really start to show. They have a really, really I think this is one of a pretty solid lineup. You got Jack Flaherty, who was fourth in Cy Young voting. Um, little side note about Jack Flaherty. Uh, he was offered because he's not at arbitration yet. You don't get a say, and so there's a little bit of discussion between them. And the St. Louis Cardinals said, "Yeah, fuck you," and which they have the right to do. And so they gave him a $10,000 raise after stop just cutting off contact with him and just offered him a contract without saying anything. And so he said no, and they penalized him $10,000 and gave him that contract anyway, which I just thought was hilarious. Like it's just the guy was fourth in Cy Young voting and is undoubtedly your ace, and he could sign with you long term if he wants to, you're just giving him reasons to not want to. But anyway, moving on. Um, you got Carlos Martinez, who had an excellent season out of the bullpen last year. Be interesting to see if he can pitch, out of the because he had 2018 where he pitched as a starter. It's out of some games, and he still had really good numbers. So maybe he can. And 2017 too, where he had really good, where he pitched definitely 200 innings. Like, so if he can get him like into the solid starting lineup like he did in 2017, like he did in 2018, that could be a really lethal number 2 guy. Dakota Hudson's also coming off off a good season last year, and you have Adam Wainwright as your number 4, who
Seems like Adam
this
Wainwright has
guy.
been in the league forever, man.
Yes, what's funny is he's been like consistently one of the better pitchers in the league for a lot of years, and in both World Series that he's won with the Cardinals, he was not actually he wasn't on the 2011 team because he was injured. He was not in the starting rotation. He was a bullpen arm.
Interesting.
So yeah, 2006 season, he 61 games, 75 innings out of the bullpen. But anyway, he's going to be like your veteran presence. He's your CC Sabathia of the team. He's been around for so long. He knows the way things go. He had actually a pretty good performance in the
Really
postseason, I
quick, you
think.
brought up CC's Bathy. Did you see the picture of him from uh quarantine?
Oh God, which one?
He
I've been
looked.
watching his podcast. Man
Uh,
has lost a lot of weight. I mean, I will say CC
I'm sorry.
Sabathia.
This is a really quick. This is a really quick
CC Sabathia always
tangent.
looks bigger
Look
bigger
at
than he is.
this.
Oh my fucking God! I didn't realize it was that. He's always looked bigger than he is because he wears baggy shit. But he's really slimmed down.
Okay, sorry. My quick tangent. I saw that on Bleacher Report the other day. He looks
Uh,
like he just has done nothing but lift. Anyways,
yeah, it's funny watching his podcast on YouTube. Was just like holy shit, he's lost so much in like such a short period of time. It's actually interesting. He was talking about. He says it's much easier for him to diet and be healthy and like work out and stay in shape now that he's out of the league, which I always thought was kind of crazy. Which I imagine has to do with the stress of it. And like let's be honest, there's no healthy way to like that's not a healthy lifestyle. The way flying all the time, going out all the time. It's a lot
oh,
of stress.
definitely not.
But anyway, you got a really solid starting lineup here. You picked up Kwang Hyun Kim from the KBO, who could be a starter. It could be a reliever, and he's been projected to come over for the league for a while, and he definitely like similar to the Shun Yamaguchi. I'm not going to say too much about him because trying to predict what a guy from a foreign league is going to do is very hard to do. It's not like Shohei Ohtani where he's throwing 100 and you've seen what it's just like it's hard to believe that he couldn't do what he's going to do over here. It's harder to predict for guys. Like he's had an excellent career in the KBO, and so I think that could definitely translate here. But I'm not going to go out on the limb to say anything. You also have John Gant and Miles Michaelis in the mix for your fifth starting rotation. Michaelis had an excellent 2018 and a horrible 2019. So yeah, if he could figure out his 2018 form again, he could definitely be another threat in that lineup. But you gotta wait and see what ends up happening there. Bullpen. Giovanni Gallegos, the guy who the Yankees traded to get Luke Voigt. Um, the trade's kind of worked out. Luke Voigt got what he needed, a chance to be up and not stuck behind Matt Carpenter and whoever else is playing first base, and Paul Goldschmidt. Had a chance to has a chance to play. Giovanni Gallegos kind of got stuck at the bottom of the bullpen in AAA, and he's shown in both seasons he is a solid player. 2019 was his first full season in major league action. 2.31 ERA, 93 strikeouts, and only 74 innings, and only 16 walks to 93 strikeouts. Like that, that any sort of like resemblance to that, he is your closer for the next couple of years. You got John Brebbia, who is coming off a good season last year, and you have Andrew Miller, who we're going to talk about a lot more because he's an interesting case, and you got other solid names like Daniel Ponce de Leon, and so like overall your bullpen looks better than the average. Well, especially in the NL East. The NL East is just full of shit bullpens. this is not one of them. Like this is a better bullpen than this is. I'd put it above average bullpen in the NL East. Overall, I'd say it's just an average bullpen. Like, because you have a lot, but like better. You got guys who are going to do better than a 4 ERA out of the bullpen, and so it's going to be, it's never going to be like, oh, why are you throwing this guy in? I feel like most of these guys are going to have solid seasons and will be something to look forward to watching play. But anyway, the way I'm trying to break this down now is to focus on specific players. And so if we go to the first player, we got Yadier Molina. Yadier Molina is like he's been in the league since 2004, and he struggled a little bit at the beginning, 2005, 252, 2006, 216, but then he just turned into one of the best hitters in the league. 275, 304, 293, well, off 262, but 305, 315, 319, just hitting, and became a leader and like a real star and like a figure, a face for that team. And so, now it's a question of how does he deal with the inevitable thing that's coming for us all, time, and he's going to be 37, and though his production was still good in 2019, it's like, can he keep up, especially at such a physically demanding position? How is he going to perform? He's going to be someone you have to watch because, like, this is a guy you do not want to see out of form. Like, you want him to see his form for as long as he's playing. And so, like, he's a guy like Felix Hernandez. He wears his like feelings on his like he wears his feelings. Like like he knows. He's not like it'd be really interesting to see how he handles just another year. Like, there's nothing saying he's gonna have to die this year, but you know, it, the numbers are starting to tick down a little bit, and so it'd be really interesting to see if how he can hold off or how he can keep going
Having
in such
played
a hard
baseball
division.
for a lot of years, I'm just gonna chime in here. Having played baseball for a lot of years, and my dad was a catcher for a lot of years, it is incredibly hard to be able to catch at the level that he's been uh, catching at for um, as long as he has. I mean, realistically speaking, I don't know. If I'm gonna go back here, and I'm just gonna see if I can get a gander of how. Let me look at that. He's been 15 years or so. He's been catching in this league, so um, it's such a physically demanding position, like Matt said, and um, just the fact that he's been this durable to be able to keep catching for this long is actually amazing to me. You see a lot of catchers move to first base or something along those lines, or if they're in the AL, they'll move to designated hitter, but to keep playing, but they're just not the same player that they were when they were younger. But the fact that he's been able to be this durable for this long is an absolutely amazing feat, and it would be a shame to see him take that step back before he retires. I hope he's able to kind of keep it up, but time is inevitable, so it'll be interesting to watch and see that.
And so anyway, second guy. Well, I don't know what to say after that. That was
Sorry,
yeah.
I can't.
No.
I'm not the
You're
most
right.
well informed on individual teams, but I did play a lot of years, and that's something I can attest to. That is a very hard position to be able to play for as long as he's played, and I give him a lot of respect for that.
But the next guy, uh, Paul Goldschmidt. Like, you guys traded for this guy, signed him to an extension, and this guy has been raking for as long as he's been in the league. Huge power threat. He put up similar power numbers at 34 home runs, but a lot of other stuff, like a lot of like, especially for like the first half of the season, he was not the same player. His everything was kind of looking slow and not as good as it had been for so long with Arizona. And like, let's look at that, like an on base percentage of 400 or plus for 3 straight seasons, and then like a 389 in 2018, going to 346 in 2019, and also dropping 30 points on your average. It's a sudden drop for what he's been doing. But you want, like, he's a guy that he can light up an entire team if he can regain, like I'm not saying he's like had like bad form or like lost his form last season, but if he can just do anything more than what he did last season, like, that'll be a huge thing for this team, because they didn't trade for Paul Goldschmidt to hit 260. They traded for the Paul Goldschmidt that you saw in all the seasons he played in Arizona. So I think he's a big thing to watch out for this season because if he can have, because he's a threat. Like he's an MVP threat.
MVP threat. That's big words.
I think when Paul Coach puts on, like he's one of the best hitters in the league. You're looking at a guy who's just I'll say all-star threat, but there's no reason why he can't challenge the if he has the kind of season again. But he's only 32. Like there's no reason why he can't. But this guy's like a four-time Silver Slugger, former NL Hank Aaron Award winner, home run leader, RBI leader, like Gold Glover.
He's
Like
done
there's a
it
lot.
all.
There's a lot more that this guy can give. And so I think there's no reason. I don't think it's out there to say like he can and should hit better than 260. But so that'll be another interesting guy to look at. Um, Next up, Dexter Fowler. Dexter Fowler, like what a head scratcher it's been. Like it's just something just stopped, and he never like Dexter Fowler for all his years had never been like super high level like tearing up the league, but he always been a much more solid baseball player than what he had shown since coming to this league. Like he'd always been hitting in the 270s. He had a season where he hit 300, but in 143 games, but like he had never shown so, as someone to only hit 180 or 238. So you like this guy's like already received a lot of criticism. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse and say what's already been said, but something's got to change because otherwise, like this is his career in the line. Like he's only gonna be 34. He'll be 35 by the time the contract's over. Like this guy is not the type of guy that you want to see just bounce. Like you thought a couple years ago would be just bouncing around the league on 1 year contracts. But after this contract's up, he might, or he might just not get another contract. Like it's just this is his career you're watching like this season. Because if he can't pull it out this season or next season, like what team's gonna want a 35-year-old who can hit?
Breaking news
So
coming in at exactly 3 a.m. I'm sorry to. I got an alert on my phone. Mr. Bob Watson dies at 74. Former Astro and first black GM to win a World Series in Major League Baseball. He died of kidney disease. So rest in peace to him. Sorry.
did it for the Yankees, 96.
Sorry, I just got it. We're talking about baseball, and I really just actually just got that alert on my phone now.
Oh yeah, I got that during our football segment.
I wasn't using my phone since
Well,
I was more active,
I know. I'm just
and
saying.
it like I just got an ESPN alert. It timed at 3 a.m. I don't know if they time them to when you look at your phone, so that way it pings you more. I don't know, but that's the alert I got.
It's funny. That guy Bob Watson. He scored the MLB's 1 millionth run.
It's an
Which
interesting
they had like
fact. Why do you know that?
they had. I was just reading about him because I saw that he died, and so I went and looked him up a little bit before he started this one. Um, he scored the MLB's millionth run, and they had a 10,000. Like whoever scored it was going to get $10,000 and like some ridiculous amount of Tootsie Rolls
But I
because Tootsie
love
Rolls
Tootsie
was
Rolls.
sponsoring. Oh, let me
Tootsie
just look
Rolls
this up. This is like
smack. Okay,
ridiculous.
sorry.
Um, and he rate like the guy behind him. He just hit a 3-run home run, and he was standing on second base, and so he charged around the bases and finished like 4 seconds before anyone else, and they were getting like live updates from every ballpark in the country to see who would score it. And so from being the person who scored the millionth run, he got, let's see, where is it? He got $10,000 and 1 million Tootsie Rolls.
Bro,
Like,
they're gonna
and
be
then
rock hard by the time he gets to eat them, bro.
the best line he could have said was he said my fan mail is doubled from 4 to 8 letters. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, sorry for that little tangent. I just got the alert. Anyways, Dexter Fowler falling off a cliff. What happened?
Like it's just, but yeah. So Dexter Fowler's really got to like put it back together. Like the guy's making a lot of money. In 5 years, 82 million. Like that's too much money to be hitting the way he's been hitting. Last season, he brought the power back. If he can bring the average back and bring just his feeling back too, his feeling has suffered. That would be really important for this Cardinals team. Next up, Jack Flaherty. This is not someone you're looking to do more. You want him to do exactly what he did last season or something similar. This guy, disgusting, high velocity, nasty breaking stuff, just cutting down batters left and right. Easily going to hit a two. Like if he does anything similar, I don't think anyone has a doubt in mind he's a 200 strikeout threat this season, and he's gonna cut batters down. And so it'd be really exciting to see him do it all again. And like as a casual MLB fan, not as a casual, but as an MLB fan, like, and as a Cubs fan, like it'd be fun to watch a Cardinals game with him watching him pitch. Like it's just the there's just something electric about watching him pitch. And so watching him, seeing if he can perform like he did last season and be another threat for a Cy Young, like that is a stud arm to have in your rotation, and any team would be jealous to have him. And so Carl needs to be careful. Like, don't fuck around with him. If he does anything similar to what he did last season, and you got to come to and after blowing him off this past season, I get it. He isn't in arbitration yet, but you want to blow a guy off who just finished fourth in Cy Young voting. If he has anything similar this season, you're going to be paying for it this offseason if you give him an extension. Are going to be paying for it when he walks out the door. So this is a guy you want to watch light up the league, and so he'll be really exciting to watch. Last person I want to talk about, Andrew Miller. Andrew Miller, oh my God. Like, this guy used to be the most amazing arm out of the bullpen. And also, the setup man for one of the greatest Yankees postseason moments in recent history with Greg Bird taking him deep for the only run scored in the ALDS game 3, it was, or game 4, at Yankee Stadium. Like this guy, just looking at his career numbers, 2017, 144, 145, 19, 202, 264, like just a massive 5-year stretch of just no one being able to touch him. And then just something happened. 2018 came along and he did not pitch. He was not looking like himself. Only a 4.24 ERA, only striking out 45, only pitching 34 innings. Like just didn't look like himself. I imagine that was because of injury, but as well. But 2019 signs a big 3-year contract. Like I say, big 3-year contract. 3-year contracts are big for relievers. Signing a 3-year contract because relievers are so volatile, and he struck out a lot again. Like he's striking in 54 innings, he struck out 70, but 4.45 ERA, which is not what you want out of a guy you're paying this much. And so if you can watch him like ever get any sort of that prime bag, like his signature slider that he used to be able to break off in any count and no one could touch, like that guy, if he shows up at all, will be like a monster. Because once again, NL Central, weakest thing in the NL Central, bullpens. Bullpens suck in this league. And having a guy like that, along with Giovanni Gallegos, as your 1-2 punch, as your 8th and 9th inning punch, like that will knock out most games. And that could be like, so this guy like can be phenomenal. And he's the most important person to watch in that bullpen this season. But that wraps it up for what I have to say about the Cardinals. Like it's just decent lineup that good on paper, need to be performing better. If they can perform better, there is no reason why they can't be in the running for the NL Central and doing better than the projected 79 wins that they have right now. So, if we'd like to move on to the report card. Lineup, giving it a B. Really good players like Paul Goldschmidt, even out of his usual Paul Goldschmidt self, is still a way better player than like 80% of the league. And Colton Wong being a solid guy stick in the lineup, Paul DeYoung having massive power, Yadier Molina just being Yadier Molina, like those are guys that are going to perform and are going to be great. But Matt Carpenter hasn't been looking good. Paul DeYoung, though he's gotten great power, doesn't have the discipline, doesn't have a lot of discipline. Dexter Fowler just hasn't hit since he's been with them. Harrison Bader hasn't hit since he's been up. Tommy Edman, I feel like I neglected to mention, like, I think he can be a big factor in this lineup. Will be interesting to watch. He's like kind of a wild card for me, but so they have like really bright spots, but they also have really bad spots, and so that's why they're good, definitely good, not bad, not great, can be great, but not there yet. Um, Starting lineup. Actually, what's next in here?
Bullpen and then
Bullpen.
rotation.
Sorry. Yes. Bullpen.
Sorry about that. My internet crashed. We're back now. Matt, you were talking about the bullpen rating.
Yes. So bullpen. No, no. I'm like this one. Like I feel like at the mo, I feel like they've been so much better than the bullpens we looked at. But I'm trying to imagine because like the teams that like get an A for bullpen, right? Like that is like right off the bat, Dodgers, Yankees, Rays, Astros. Like like those teams have really good bullpens, and the A's, the Mets, like those have really good bullpens, and I don't think that they have that. They just don't have that level of bullpen, but they do have really good arms, and so I'm gonna give them a B plus for the bullpen.
Okay, I'm going to put in here B plus, but I am gonna just say one real quick one statement. Did I just hear you say that the Mets have a great?
Well, for the MLB average, I think they do have a pretty good bullpen.
I swear, and limited knowledge here, but I swear that they were like the bane of Mets fans' existence last year because they just couldn't close the
Oh,
game.
absolutely, and we will talk about that. That rides and dies with. Oh God,
Yeah,
hold on,
I'm not putting you on the spot. You don't need names,
hold
but
on. No, no, no. This is pissing me off that I don't remember this guy's
oh,
name.
okay.
Mets. Excuse me. Hello, Champ. Thank you. Bullpen. Edwin Diaz. That rides and dies with Edwin Diaz. But they have like Seth Lugo, Dylan Betances, Jerry Familia, and they're the bullpens. Like I think they have like the numbers. I don't think they're like bullpens nearly as good as the. I don't think the bullpens as good as like the Yankees or the Rays. But they have an excellent like for what their competition is. I think they do have a very good bullpen. And if Edwin Diaz had a horrible season last year, but his stuff like when you do like breakdowns of his stuff, like obviously like his velocity is still there, his spin rate's still there. Something was wrong. There's but like if he can, like I'm not saying he's ever gonna have a season like he had in 2018, pitching 73 innings, having a 1.96 ERA and 57 saves, but like he still I feel like can be a top flight arm, and so I feel like the Mets have a better argument for a bullpen. But either way, I'm sticking with B to B plus on the Cardinals bullpen. It's got a lot of solid pieces, and it can have, depending on the performance of Andrew Miller, can have two really, really big lockdown arms. Rotation is definitely the strongest suit of the Cardinals. I'm going to give their rotation an A. Their rotation is deceptively good. Jack Flaherty is like is becoming a superstar. He is like like monster. But other pieces like Carlos Martinez, Dakota Hudson, Adam Wainwright, Miles Michaelis, like names you don't think of as top flight guys have been putting up really good numbers. And so, because teams can like stats can get carried by one guy, but if team stat like I feel like their stats all kind of look similar and they can all be really good. And so I feel like that I feel like barring Carlos Martinez needing to go back to the bullpen, or Daniel Hudson or Adam Wainwright getting shelled all the time, or Michael is showing what he did in 2019. I feel like the rotation should be the biggest strength of the Cardinals, which gives them an overall rating of like B plus. I feel like they definitely have a good team, and it pains me to say they have a good team because I'm a Cubs fan. I don't want them to have a good team, but I think they're better than the 79 and 83 ranking that they have. I think that they like between the Cubs, Reds, Brewers, and Cardinals, they are right there, and I feel like those teams are all evenly matched. So yeah, that's my spiel.
All right. So, with that being said, how would you like to close this out?
I need to go chug a giant glass of water because my mouth is dry.
Okay, that's fair. I will then conclude the video with make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, anything that you think that Matt missed, or if you want me to shut up and allow the baseball expert here, borderline expert, borderline expert here to have his say, and I can just kind of stay out of it. Make sure to leave that down in the comments below. Check out our Discord and our social media. Um, he needs to go chug a glass of water. It's 3:14 a.m. and I have to be up in 5 hours, so I'm gonna go take my ass to sleep. We will be back on Monday for sure. Um, we are in. We are currently talking about if we think that this 10 video a week pace is kind of sustainable for us. Um, I can't promise that it will be still 2 videos a day. We will be talking about that over the weekend, and obviously we will have to see what next week brings. But we'll be back next week with something, and I may, like I brought up in my Carolina Panthers video that came out earlier today. Um, I may be remaking the first video in the series that of mine, the Arizona Cardinals, not the St. Louis ones, but the Arizona Cardinals draft recap. So I may be making that at some point this weekend. But other than that, I think that'll wrap it up for us this week. Thank you for bearing with us as we try to figure out how we're getting this thing going. We went from a podcast that was basically just us, not designed to be very visual. It was mostly just going to be us kind of just talking for a long time about whatever was going on, and then it became these kind of shorter videos. So we're trying to figure out how we can maximize those for you guys. So if you have any ideas, feel free to drop those in the comments or join our Discord, and we'll talk about it in there. And we will be open to suggestions as we're trying to figure it out. But I think that will be all for us, unless you have something else to add, Matt.
No, that's about it, really.
So with that being said, we will see you guys next week, and peace.